Welcome back to the Garden with Joe and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us. Time for your garden questions, our garden answers. You want any of those coupon codes or find more information about the sponsors that financially support the program so you can hear it on your radio each week, you can go to our parent website, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.com, underneath the Money tab and the Season 9 tab. You want to be part of question and answer time, you can submit your question to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or toll free coast to coast. Dial it in at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Let's see what we can get through to the top of the hour.
What can I use that's non-toxic to get rid of tons of dandelions on my lawn? It's really out of control. Please help.
Okay, so a couple of things. You can use a product that sponsors our show, sponsors the program, Natural Green Products at natgreenproducts.com. At the top of the page, you can get free shipping on orders over $50. It's listed there, free ship for me. It is an all-natural, non-selective weed killer. And you're going to have to spot spray. It's not something that you can just broadcast and it only kills specific plants. On the side note about that, dandelions can fly. Dandelion seeds can and have been reported up to 500 miles away from their original growth place. They are the first plants in which bees utilize in the spring, and they last literally, about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm not saying that you should leave them alone. If they are bothering you and you want to get rid of them, you have every aspiration to do such. Go for it. You're choosing to do it in a natural and chemical-free way. However, just because they got removed this year and you destroyed the plants, that doesn't mean that you are dandelion-free for years to come.
Right. Right, so keep that in mind.
You can also call 1-800-860-GREEN if you want to talk to them directly about a proper applicational rate or quantity availability for what you are trying to accomplish.
All right, so our next question is, how long does it take for tree wood chipping to decompose? I guess that would be like
wood chips.
Bark mulch or wood chips, whatever you want to call it. So if you're running through a normal wood chipper.
Not sure what an unnormal wood chipper is.
I don't know. I think they all kind
wood
of
chipper is more power.
I think they all kind of make the same kind of mulch. I don't know much about wood chippers.
Wood chippers are dangerous. You got to be very people.
There's a whole movie with an ending that in regards to wood chipper.
If any type of chainsaw, weed whacker, even shrub trimmer, them things, you can lose fingers, you can get hurt. Anyway, the question is, so wood chips alone left in a pile can take 2 to 3 years to break down. If you take those wood chips and mix them into your compost pile in your pile, it can take about 5 to 6 months. Obviously, the big contributor to the speed of breakdown is the size of the chip. The smaller the chip, the quicker it's going to break down. Also, the bigger the pile of compost helps speed that breakdown. But if you just have a big pile, 2 to 3 years, that's what it's going to be. What sort of fertilizer are you using for your Brussels sprouts? You always have nice Brussels sprouts on your videos. Do you have high nitrogen, high something else? We use an all-purpose 464 organic fertilizer.
Yeah.
Nothing special. When you're utilizing organic fertilizer or fertilizers in general, here in the northern areas of the United States, and you have to do your research for your particular growing area, we avoid using anything over a 10-10-10, simply because to utilize the available components of that fertilizer over a 10-10-10, that doesn't get used up during the growing time frame that are allotted for us with our weather conditions. And typically a lot of the non-organic fertilizers are a higher number, like grass fertilizer is like 90-00, because it's all nitrogen. So
what's that one? Urea?
Is one.
Yeah.
Potash. Those are farming terminology for nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate.
So whoever was asking this question about the Brussels sprouts Maybe you want to talk about topping Brussels sprouts?
The other difficult people have when growing Brussels sprouts is they get a lot of leaf growth and very little sprout growth. What we have found over the decade plus of growing Brussels sprouts is whether you start them indoors or you buy them from the garden center, they take about 90 to 120 days based on the variety. As you start seeing the sprout develop in the junction of stalk and stem, that's when you want to go in and literally cut off the top 6 inches of the plant, that growth tip, in order to get that plant to stop growing and put on the sprout and not the vertical growth. You stop that top growth and you'll see the sprouts get larger, much larger than what you traditionally have seen in the past. So you want to do that as soon as you start seeing the sprouts, and you will have a very different outcome with your sprouts at harvest time. Do you need to wait until the air temperature is 50 degrees Fahrenheit before transplanting tomatoes? If so, what might the mitigation be if you don't do that? Also, what are the best ways of hardening off tomatoes without having to carry them in and out of the house? I don't have a greenhouse. What we have done, or you want to do it, wait until 50 degrees at root zone, because you can stunt the plant. The plant can actually get, die. We see these videos, it was 34 and we put this over and we had heaters in the garden and the soil, but there's a lot of hassle. Just wait until the proper time comes. For hardening the plants off, that is a transition of acclimating the plant from indoor temperature to outdoor temperature and exposure of sunlight over the course of 7 days. What we have done is we've got a porch in which we put our tomato plants out, and if you can do this in a time frame where you have cloudiness for 3 or 4 consecutive days, you've really basically took a lot of the guesswork out. They will harden off, and their UV rays, though the cloud is there, it still is getting the plants utilized to the sun, but not as intense, so it's a little softer. But if you don't have that option, put them on the porch, let them have sunlight for a half hour, 45 minutes, take a bed sheet and cover them for an hour, back and forth throughout the day, and over the course of a couple of days, you will be able to see the plants being more adequately adapted to the sunlight and not being sun scalded, so that you can harden them off that way.